Well, hello and welcome to Geordieland 1892. Um, where do we start? First game of the season was fantastic, wasn't it? A great opener and beating Villa 5-1. But the last three games have gone, well, pretty badly, really. The game against Manchester City at the Etihad, I think the supporters, built ourselves up, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think we believed that we were going to get something down there. I really do. Now, to be fair, it was a bit of a frustrating game. I thought we did have our moments in that game. Sometimes some of our passing was pretty classy actually. Sometimes our possession was really good, but we lacked killer instinct and lacked chances really on the Man City goal. Phil Foden was absolutely brilliant that night, in my opinion. And in the pub I watched it, there was quite a few Man City supporters in there, some that I know and some that I didn't know. And to be fair, I was spying. They were watching it in a different room in the pub, but there was a way I could see in to watch their faces. And there was times in that game that they were clearly a bit frightened. After the game, I was speaking to a few of them, and they actually admitted that they were biting their nails a little bit because they did think that they were going to get sucker punched by Newcastle. It never happened, but it just shows, they were worried about playing us. Now, obviously, we came away from that game losing 1-0, and it's no embarrassment. Treble winners, league champions, Super Cup winners, to lose 1-0 at the Etihad isn't bad at all. It was just frustrating and it was disappointing. Now, obviously, the next game that we played was against Liverpool, and to be honest, there was a massive positivity, a mass of positivity in the air about that game. Obviously, we all wanted to get one over on Jurgen Klopp, didn't we? But it didn't happen. 1-0 up, and Virgil van Dijk being sent off. Liverpool were down to 10 men, and you honestly thought it was nailed on that we were going to get a victory there. But we managed basically managed to get defeat from the jaws of victory, really. What the hell happened, I do not know. I think maybe there was too many substitutions all in one go. But we allowed a 10-man Liverpool to sucker punch us, and they went away with the points. I was just left scratching my head thinking, how the hell did that happen? And I'm sure the players did as well. I'm sure they were, what have we done here? Eddie Howe, obviously it was back on the drawing board for him. But then what wasn't acceptable really was the game at Brighton. It was full of lacklustre. I thought our performance was shocking. Our first 10 minutes, we looked sharp as a blade. We looked really, really good. Isaac missing a couple of chances. Miggy missing a peach of a chance. At the end of the day, the game would have been, I think, very, very different if we had drawn first blood in that first 10 minutes. But what happened after that was we kind of sat back. We allowed gaps to open where Gilmore and, obviously Ferguson just basically hurt us again and again and again. It was a poor performance by Newcastle. I thought, obviously, we're missing Sven Botman, who I think sometimes, even though we know he's class, we kind of take him for granted, and he wasn't there against Brighton. And obviously Dan Burn moving into his position and Matty Targett playing in the left back position. It didn't look good, did it? Maybe Matty Targett is just lacking match practice, but Dan Burn was being twisted and turned. We were allowing them to run at us at a rate of knots throughout that game, and we got punished for it over and over again. 3 times Ferguson getting his hat-trick. I'm not taking anything away from Brighton. I thought they played really, really well. They're a good team, and Ferguson deserved his hat-trick, even though we kind of let him in. We let him do that to us. Fabian Schär had an appalling game, and it's hard to say that about Fabian Schär because, to be honest, he's one of my favourite players in Newcastle. He really is. He's a warrior normally. It seems that the lad had a knock and he didn't play very well, but he should have held his hand up and maybe come off. But to be honest, not a great performance by him. Nick Pope, on the other hand, I mean, it was just shocking, really. His distribution was terrible, and you know, he was at fault a couple of times, really, in that game. He had a very bad game. I would say Dan Burn had a bad game as well. Obviously, Kieran Trippier, I thought he had a better game than the other three at the back. He did play well, in my opinion. Forever professional, isn't he? But Joe Linton just was well. It turns out he was injured. But it just didn't look right. Bruno Guimaraes not having a great game. He was having a proper off day. I thought Tonali looked superb. Gordon looked athletic and ready to go, really. The unfortunate thing is that I don't think he got enough of the ball, and I think we've got to put that right if we're going to play him. Miggy, for me, Miggy, what can I say about Miggy? Miggy is kind of hot and cold for me. He will run his arse off for you, but you know, in front of goal, I mean, it's not like that part last season where he was just banging them into a fun. Obviously, Isaac, I don't think he's getting enough of the ball, to be fair. I don't think he's getting enough service. Obviously, Callum Wilson did come on later in the game, and so did Longstaff. Longstaff booting a great ball up to Wilson, who basically made it his own and created a goal for us out of that pass. He did it all himself, and he took it beautifully. But it was too little, too late, really. Where do Newcastle United go from here? Well, we're in the international break now. I hate international breaks. And it's 2 weeks. But the good thing about this international break is that Eddie Howe, Jason Tindall and the coaching team can kind of reset and sit down and try and figure out what's going on. Figure out a fix, really. Personally, I have a fix. I'm not the manager of Newcastle United, but I don't know if anybody else would agree with this. Put it in the comments if you do, if you don't. But I would, at this moment in time, depending on how long Sven Botman's out, I would be playing basically Lewis Hall in the position of Matty Target. I would keep Dan Burn where he is. Fabian Schär won't have another game like he did against Brighton. Hopefully he's back fighting fit in 2 weeks' time. But as we are kind of lacking a number 6 at the minute, and I think we're not getting up the pitch enough because we are missing that role. What about putting Tino Livramento in Trippier's position in defence and moving Trippier in front of Tino Livramento? Play Joe Linton as long as he's fit, Bruno and Tonali. The same, I would start Wilson this time and switch it around with Isaac. But maybe Murphy might be coming back, so you could maybe play Murphy and Gordon on the same pitch. Listen, they're all thoughts, but I definitely think this putting Trippier in front of Tino Livramento. Tino Livramento has played in the Premier League. He knows what it's all about. He's a good player, and I just think it gives a little bit extra cover. But with Trippier's passing ability and his intelligence up the wing there, I think he can get us some inroads, you know. But Newcastle at the minute, it's a rough start of the season. I definitely think we're poor against Liverpool, but we were absolutely shockingly poor against Brighton. I really don't want to see anything like that again this season. Obviously, they've got to get themselves sorted for that game when we come back against Brentford. And then straight after that, we've got Milan at the San Siro in the Champions League. So, bit of time for us to reflect, bit of time for Eddie Howe to try and tinker, get things right, get a bit of passion and a bit of fight. We lacked pace and we lacked aggression against Brighton. And like I say, don't get me wrong, De Zerbi is doing a fantastic job at Brighton and Hove Albion. They're a very good team. I did say a couple of years ago when we started this channel, I thought Brighton were going to go on and on and on and get better and better, and they have done. Obviously, the manager changed from Potter to De Zerbi, but I think De Zerbi is a very good manager, and he's got them motivated and he's got them playing some beautiful football at times. Really, really, impressive. But Newcastle have that ability as well, and for some reason we're just not. It's not working at the minute, is it? I do think that a couple of times Tonali has been brought off, and I wouldn't have brought him off. It seems that we've conceded when we've took him off. Whether that's just coincidence, I really don't know. But at the end of the day, I really wouldn't get too panicky about the situation, because I think we are going to get it right. I think everything will be okay. Think about the start of last season. We beat Forest 2-0 on the opening day, but after that it was we didn't get a win for about 7 games. We didn't lose either. There was a lot of draws, I seem to remember. But listen, we did start a little bit late, didn't we, last season, and we ended up finishing 4th at the end of the season. So I wouldn't be too downhearted. I just think that obviously after that result against Aston Villa, we all kind of believed that we were going to do more, we were going to be much better, and I think we've been slapped in the face a little bit, haven't we? Disappointed, I would say. But for fans who are going on social media and saying things like Eddie Howe, should be sacked, give yourself a slap, man. It's just ridiculous, that's not a proper fan speaking. That's just a lunatic. Look, you've got to give the lad time to sort things out in Newcastle. He will, and so will the players. They'll come together and they'll find their form again. Now, anyway, from Geordieland 1892 for the minute. That's pretty much all I've got to say at the minute. Like I say, it's been disappointing. I'm not angry, as some people are. I'm disappointed, but I believe that will turn it around. We have some great players. We made some great signings this season. I honestly think in the transfer window we made some good signings, and I think really it would be nice to see Hall in that left back position. I think he's more than capable. But anyway, think about what I've said about Kieran Trippier moving into that 6 and Tino Livramento at the back. Anyway, from me, Geordieland 1892, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for listening to me. And if you like, please like, share if you want to share it with somebody. And please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed. It really helps the channel massively. Anyway, for now, I'm out.